Night does not make the animal world quiet. It only hides the parts of it your body was never built to read. Outside the window, the dark may look empty, but emptiness is a human interpretation. A dog would find old movement written into the ground. A bat would send sound into the blackness and wait for the shape of the world to come back. In the ocean, a shark could follow the faint electrical leak of a living body, while a whale might send its voice through water, farther than any human shout could ever travel through air. Nothing about the planet is simple. It only looks simple from inside one kind of body. That is where this journey begins. Not with the rarest animal, or the largest, or the most colorful, but with the quiet idea that every creature lives inside a different version of Earth. The forest you see is not the forest a fox smells. The flower you notice is not the flower a bee reads. The water that looks dark to you may still be full of signals for something that feels pressure, vibration, or electricity better than light. A human body gives you one narrow translation of the world, and because it is the only one you have, it feels complete. Animals prove that it is not. A dog walking along a street is already inside a deeper story than we usually notice. Its nose does not simply collect smells, it gathers traces of time. A corner can hold the passing of another animal long after that animal is gone. Grass can keep chemical signs of fear, hunger, direction, age, and weather. To us, the past lives mostly as memory. To a dog, parts of the past remain outside the mind, written into the pavement, the soil, the bark of a tree, or the damp air near a wall. That turns an ordinary walk into something stranger. The dog is not distracted from the world. It may be reading more of it than we are. The bat changes darkness in another way. Human eyes lose detail when the light falls, so darkness becomes a limit. A bat does not accept that limit. It sends sound outward, then listens as the world returns in fragments. A moth becomes a pattern in the echo. A branch becomes distance. Open air becomes a passage. The animal is not flying through emptiness. It is moving through a map that appears only when the bat calls into it. For us, silence and darkness often feel like absence. For many animals, they are full of information. Underwater, the idea becomes even less familiar. A dolphin can use sound to explore a space where vision fails. Clicks move through the sea and come back changed by bodies, objects, and distance. Shape returns as echo. Movement becomes a signal. Cloudy water does not erase the world completely because the dolphin is not depending only on sight. A shark may find life through a signal even weaker, stranger, and more difficult for us to imagine. Living muscles and nerves produce tiny electrical traces. In water, those traces matter. A fish buried in sand may feel hidden. A body moving through dim water may seem invisible. Yet life keeps leaking evidence of itself, and another animal has evolved to notice. Even a flower can be less innocent than it seems. A petal may look simple to human eyes, but to a bee, it can carry ultraviolet markings that guide the animal toward nectar. Those patterns are real, but they sit outside our vision. A flower can be giving directions in a color language that passes straight through the human world unnoticed. Once you understand that, the world begins to feel layered. The same place can be ordinary to you and crowded with signals to another creature. A field is not just grass. A reef is not just coral. A patch of mud is not just mud. Every environment contains hidden routes, warnings, maps, invitations, traps, and memories. Animals do not merely occupy these places, their bodies unlock them. Cold opens another layer of strangeness. In parts of North America, the wood frog can survive winter in a state that looks disturbingly close to death. Ice can form through parts of its body. Its heart may stop for a while. Breathing can pause. If you found it under leaves at the wrong moment, you might believe the animal had ended. Spring reveals the mistake. Warmth returns, chemistry shifts, and the body begins again. The heart starts, breath returns. Movement comes back slowly, as if life had only stepped away from itself. The frog did not defeat winter by staying warm. It survived by letting winter take it almost all the way down. A bumblebee answers cold from the opposite direction. Before flight, it can warm its muscles by vibrating them, turning a tiny body into a living engine. On a chilly morning, while the world still feels too heavy for insects, the bee prepares itself from within. One animal survives by almost stopping. Another survives by making heat. Nature does not care which answer feels more elegant. It only keeps the answer that works. Some of the strongest survival tricks belong to creatures too small to notice. Tardigrades, often called water bears, can enter a dried, suspended state in which ordinary activity nearly disappears. In that condition, they can endure severe dryness, cold, radiation, and other stresses that would destroy most animals. A creature almost invisible to the human eye can wait through extremes that would end a large body quickly. Strength does not always look like strength. Sometimes it looks like becoming nearly nothing until the world is safe again. The ocean seems especially good at producing bodies that challenge human assumptions. An octopus has no skeleton, and at first that sounds like weakness. Yet softness lets it do things a rigid animal cannot. It can squeeze through narrow openings, flow over rock, disappear into cracks, and reshape itself around the seafloor. Its mind is not arranged like ours either. A great deal of its nervous system spreads through its arms, where suckers can taste and touch. When an octopus reaches into a hidden space, it is not simply using a limb. Part of the animal's awareness is entering the dark. That makes human intelligence feel less universal. We imagine the mind as something behind the eyes, seated in the head, looking outward. The octopus suggests a different possibility, a mind distributed through motion, skin, touch, and arms that seem to think with the world as they move through it. Cuttlefish carry the same family strangeness across their skin. Their bodies can shift color, texture, and pattern with astonishing speed. A ripple across the skin may hide the animal, warn another, attract a mate, or confuse a rival. The skin becomes more than a surface. It becomes a changing message. Land animals use deception more quietly. A leaf-tailed gecko may vanish into bark because its body breaks the outline the eye is searching for. A stick insect survives by becoming close enough to a twig that attention slides past it. Even movement must be careful. A motion too alive would ruin the disguise. Sometimes survival belongs not to the strongest animal, but to the one the world fails to notice. Other animals do the opposite. A poison dart frog may carry colors that look beautiful to us, but those colors can warn predators of toxins. Brightness becomes a danger sign. Beauty becomes a boundary. A creature we might admire from a distance may be saying something completely different to the animals that share its forest. Stay away. The forest becomes less gentle once that sinks in. Color may be warning. Stillness may be disguise. A soft movement may hide a trap. A pattern on a wing may be a false eye. Nature does not separate beauty from danger, just because humans prefer it that way. A spider's web shows how far a body can extend itself. Silk is not only a trap, it is touch stretched into the air. When an insect hits the threads, vibration travels through the web, and the spider reads the struggle from a distance. The fly enters disaster. The spider receives information. Leafcutter ants build a different kind of extended body through the colony. They carry leaves underground not simply to eat them, but to feed fungus they cultivate. Beneath a quiet forest floor, animals are farming, cleaning, defending, and maintaining a food system in darkness. Long before humans invented agriculture, small bodies were already growing crops under the soil. Termites create architecture through repetition. A mound is not a random pile of earth. Air moves through it. Heat shifts. Internal conditions can be regulated by structure. No single termite needs to understand the whole building for the building to work. The design emerges from many small actions. This is one of nature's strangest powers. It can build without a blueprint. Coral reefs carry the same idea into the sea. Corals are animals, though they are often mistaken for rocks or plants. Tiny polyps build hard structures over generations, and those structures become crowded worlds for fish, crustaceans, algae, predators, larvae, and countless hidden lives. A reef is not scenery. It is a city slowly made by animals. Small things become enormous when time is patient. A scent trail becomes a road. A polyp becomes a reef. A vibration becomes a message. A frozen frog becomes a question about how close life can come to stopping. The more slowly you look, the less ordinary the world becomes. This is why animal facts are not just little pieces of information. Each one opens a crack in the human version of reality. A dog smelling a street asks whether the past can remain outside the mind. A bat flying through darkness asks whether night is really dark. An octopus asks whether intelligence needs one center. A coral reef asks how many small mouths it takes to build a world. Somewhere tonight, these questions are alive in bodies that do not know they are strange. A bat reads the dark. A dog follows time along the ground. A whale moves sound through black water. Under leaves, a frog waits at the edge of stillness. Beneath soil, a colony continues its work without a leader. The world is not quiet because nothing is happening. It is quiet because most of what is happening was never meant for human senses. And this is only the first layer. The next layer begins with a more uncomfortable thought. A body is not always a fixed thing. Human beings usually experience the body as something stable. It changes slowly, ages gradually, heals small wounds, and remains familiar enough that we call it ourselves. Animal life is less obedient. Across the natural world, bodies change sex, rebuild limbs, borrow defenses, abandon old skins, transform into new forms, grow armor from skeleton, turn skin into language, and make shelters from their own secretions. Nature treats the body less like a finished object and more like a negotiation. In clownfish, the social world can change the body itself. A group usually has a dominant female. If she disappears, a male can transform and take her role. Reproduction remains possible because the body responds to the structure around it. The change is not confusion. It is a practical biological answer. Some reef fish follow similar patterns, shifting sex depending on size, dominance, or social conditions. Human categories often feel solid until the ocean ignores them. In that world, identity can be shaped by the needs of the group. Seahorses bend expectation from another angle. The male carries developing young in a pouch after the female transfers eggs to him. His body becomes the nursery. From our mammal-centered viewpoint, the arrangement feels reversed. To the seahorse, there is no reversal. There is only the system that works. Every animal is normal to itself. The strangeness appears when we assume our version of normal should apply everywhere. Some frogs once carried this flexibility into a place that still sounds almost impossible. The now extinct gastric brooding frogs swallowed fertilized eggs, and the young developed inside the stomach. During that period, the mother's stomach stopped behaving like an ordinary digestive organ. A chamber meant to break down food became a chamber for life. Evolution often works this way. It does not always invent new parts. It changes the job of old ones. A turtle's shell is not a separate piece of armor placed over the animal. It is part of the skeleton, built deeply into the body. Protection became architecture. The turtle does not wear a fortress. It grows one. A hermit crab borrows its fortress from death. The shell it carries belonged to another animal first. When that animal is gone, the empty structure becomes safety for a new body. One life leaves a shape behind, and another life moves into it. Decorator crabs take the environment itself and turn it into disguise. Pieces of sponge, algae, or other material can be attached to the body until the crab becomes difficult to separate from the world around it. The animal is not only hiding in the environment, it is wearing the environment. A body can become a costume, but mimicry goes further because survival often depends on making the right lie believable. A harmless fly may resemble a wasp closely enough to avoid being eaten. A caterpillar can look like bird droppings. A butterfly wing can carry eye spots that make a predator hesitate. None of these illusions need to be perfect. A predator only has to pause, misjudge, or move on. A moment of doubt can save a life. The mimic octopus turns deception into performance. It can imitate the appearance or behavior of other animals well enough to alter the risk around it. A hint of sea snake, flatfish, or lionfish may be enough. The animal does not become another species. It becomes the suggestion of one. Danger can be real. A memory of danger can also work. Other animals survive by turning life into the appearance of death. An opossum may enter a defensive state that leaves it limp, foul-smelling, and unappealing to predators. Calling it playing dead makes it sound like acting, but the reality is bodily. The animal becomes convincing because the body itself enters the performance. Death becomes a disguise. Certain birds use false injury to protect their young. A parent may drag a wing or move as though vulnerable, drawing a predator away from a nest before escaping. The predator follows the easier target. The eggs remain hidden. A body tells a false story, and the next generation survives because the story worked. Metamorphosis may be the most dramatic body story of all. A caterpillar does not simply grow wings. Inside the chrysalis, the body reorganizes deeply. The crawling animal gives way to a flying one, and the same life passes into a shape built for a different world. People often make butterflies into gentle symbols of change. Biology is less gentle. A body breaks its own arrangement and returns with another. Dragonflies begin as underwater predators before becoming hunters of the air. Mosquitoes begin in water before taking flight. Beetles, moths, flies, and many other insects divide life into stages so different that each stage can solve a separate problem. One animal can occupy more than one world by refusing to keep the same body for its entire life. This helps explain why insects have been so successful. A larva can focus on eating and growth. The adult can move, mate, disperse, or search for new places. A single life becomes a sequence of specialized bodies. Light becomes part of the body's language in fireflies. Their glow is chemistry turned into communication. A field filled with blinking lights may look peaceful, but each flash belongs to timing, recognition, attraction, and survival. The beauty is real, yet it was not made for human wonder. In the deep ocean, living light takes on darker roles. Bioluminescence can attract prey, confuse predators, hide silhouettes, or send signals in black water. An anglerfish waits with a glowing lure. Another animal sees the promise of food or curiosity and moves closer. The light is not comfort. It is a trap waiting to become a mouth. Attraction, in nature, can be dangerous. Parasites make the body feel even less private. The lancet liver fluke moves through multiple hosts, including snails, ants, and grazing animals. At one stage, infected ants can behave in ways that increase the chance of being eaten by grazing animals, helping the parasite continue its life cycle. The ant is no longer simply moving for itself. Its body has become part of another organism's route. That is one of the most uncomfortable truths in animal life. A body can contain an agenda that is not its own. Parasitic fungi that infect insects push the discomfort further. Some fungi alter the behavior of ants before killing them and releasing spores. The popular phrase, zombie ant fungus, sounds sensational, but the real biology already carries enough unease. A fungus can use an animal body as transport, placement, and eventually a structure for reproduction. No villain is needed. The cycle continues because it works. That may be colder than horror. Horror gives us intention. Nature only needs a pathway. Venom offers a more direct form of control. A snake can alter another body's blood, nerves, or tissue with chemistry. A spider can subdue prey and begin digestion outside the body. A cone snail can use a harpoon-like tooth to inject toxins with frightening precision. The shell may look beautiful. The animal inside may carry a weapon. Some defenses are less elegant, but just as effective. Certain sea cucumbers can eject sticky internal organs when threatened, distracting or entangling predators long enough to survive. To humans, the idea feels grotesque because we imagine our own bodies that way. For the animal, the body is a system with parts that can sometimes be sacrificed. Regeneration changes the meaning of injury. Starfish can regrow arms. Salamanders can regenerate limbs. Planarians can rebuild astonishing amounts of themselves from fragments. The axolotl has become famous because it can regenerate limbs and other tissues in ways that continue to fascinate scientists. For one animal, loss may be permanent. For another, loss becomes instruction. Growth can also require vulnerability. A crab must molt, leaving behind an old outer shell in order to become larger. The armor that protected it eventually becomes too small. To grow, the animal must step out of safety. That bargain appears again and again. Protection can become a prison. Change can require exposure. Sleep brings the same theme into the night. A dolphin cannot simply sleep like a human for long stretches, because breathing at the surface matters. Forms of unihemispheric sleep allow part of the brain to rest, while another part remains more alert. Some birds can also keep one side of the brain more awake under certain conditions. Rest does not always mean surrender. A parrotfish may sleep inside a mucus cocoon, which can help reduce scent cues or protect against parasites in some species. A fish in the reef wraps itself in a temporary barrier made by its own body. Even sleep becomes construction. Horses can doze standing because of a stay apparatus in their legs, though deeper sleep still requires lying down. A prey animal benefits from resting without fully giving up the chance to escape. The body does not remove vulnerability. It manages it. A crocodile's body holds another contradiction. Its jaws can crush, yet mothers can carry hatchlings gently in the mouth. The same structure can kill and protect. Nature does not divide animals into simple emotional categories. A predator can be tender toward its young. A beautiful animal can be poisonous. A harmless-looking insect can carry a warning shape borrowed from something dangerous. The body is never only one thing. It can be weapon, shelter, warning, lure, nursery, disguise, trap, memory, and repair system. This second layer of animal life is not really about odd facts. It is about flexibility. A stomach can become a nursery. Skin can become a signal. A shell can be borrowed. A brain can sleep in halves. A body can fake death, rebuild a limb, leave old armor behind, or become the suggestion of another creature. The animal body is not fixed. It is a conversation with danger, hunger, reproduction, and time. That conversation has been going on for hundreds of millions of years, and it is still happening tonight in places no human will ever see. The deeper you go into animal life, the smaller the human story becomes. Not less important to us, just smaller. Many people imagine evolution as a ladder, with simple creatures at the bottom and humans somewhere near the top. That picture feels comforting because it turns the history of life into a climb toward ourselves. The animal kingdom tells a different story. Evolution branches, repeats, fails, improvises, and leaves behind more extinct experiments than living ones. Most animal history did not lead to humans. It led everywhere else. A dolphin and a shark share a streamlined form because water rewards certain shapes, not because they are close relatives. Wings appeared in insects, birds, and bats through separate histories because air rewards lift. Complex eyes evolved in different lineages because light rewards the ability to focus information. Evolution does not need intention to produce resemblance. Pressure can make distant bodies rhyme. A hummingbird hovering near a flower looks delicate, almost weightless, but the body underneath that beauty is trapped in an intense energy bargain. Wings beat rapidly, the heart works hard, the metabolism burns fiercely. Grace, in that animal, is expensive. A sloth survives by a nearly opposite rule. Slow movement, careful digestion, and low energy use are not failures. They are part of a strategy shaped around leaves and conservation. Speed would waste what the animal cannot afford to spend. One body burns through energy to stay suspended in air. Another saves energy by moving as if the whole world has slowed. Neither is the higher answer. Each belongs to a different bargain. Climate writes bodies in the same way. A polar bear carries insulation, fat, strength, and a powerful sense of smell across ice. A desert fox uses large ears that help release heat and detect prey. A camel manages water and temperature in dry landscapes. A penguin answers cold, swimming, diving, and group survival with a body shaped for extremes. Weather, over enough time, becomes anatomy. A giraffe shows how one visible feature demands hidden engineering. A long neck is not just a long neck. Blood pressure, heart function, balance, drinking posture, and circulation all have to work around height. Evolution cannot stretch one part of a body and leave the rest untouched. Every striking trait carries invisible systems behind it. Bird flight depends on feathers, muscles, bones, air sacs, balance, and coordination. Whale diving depends on oxygen storage, pressure tolerance, slowed heart rate, and the need to return to the surface for air. A snake swallowing large prey depends on skull flexibility, muscles, senses, and digestion. The visible moment is only the surface of a deeper arrangement. Whales carry one of the most haunting histories because they are mammals that return to the sea. Their ancestors once lived on land. Across deep time, bodies changed. Limbs became flippers, nostrils shifted into blowholes, shapes lengthened, streamlined, and adapted to water. Yet whales still breathe air. A whale belongs to the ocean, but every breath remembers land. Migration gives animal bodies a relationship with distance that can feel impossible. Birds cross continents. Salmon return toward natal streams. Sea turtles navigate across ocean basins. Monarch butterflies move across vast ranges through generations. Humans carry maps outside the body. Many animals carry some part of the map within the body. A salmon following chemical cues back toward a river is not merely traveling, it is being pulled by origin. A stream becomes memory written in water. Sea turtles may use cues connected to Earth's magnetic field, turning the planet itself into part of navigation. That idea feels mystical, only because our bodies do not experience it directly. To the animal, it is not mystical. It is simply one of the ways home becomes findable. Honeybees can communicate direction and distance to food through the waggle dance. Inside the hive, movement carries geography. A dance becomes a map. Prairie dogs can give alarm calls that distinguish between types of predators, and research suggests those calls can carry surprisingly specific information. Fear becomes shared data. A warning is not only panic, it is a survival tool passed through sound. Group life turns intelligence into something wider than one brain. Meerkats use sentries. Wolves coordinate across distance. Dolphins maintain social bonds. Elephants remember relationships and routes. Crows learn from one another. Ants follow chemical trails that organize movement beyond the understanding of any single ant. An ant colony is not intelligent in the way a person is intelligent. Yet the colony can solve problems no individual ant understands. Chemical trails guide workers toward food. Repeated movement strengthens paths. Local decisions create large patterns. The colony becomes a distributed system made of many small lives. Termites create architecture through similar emergence. Their mounds can regulate airflow and internal conditions without any single termite holding a full plan. Small actions repeat, respond, and accumulate until the structure works. Order can appear without a single owner. That may be more unsettling than design. Dinosaurs stretch the animal story into deep time. They were not strange only because many were large. Their deeper power comes from duration. Non-avian dinosaurs dominated many land ecosystems for more than 160 million years. Human civilization is almost nothing beside that scale. Then the world changed. Around 66 million years ago, an asteroid impact and other pressures reshaped life on Earth. Most non-avian dinosaurs vanished. Birds continued. A pigeon on a city ledge is easy to ignore, but its lineage is not ordinary. The past did not disappear completely. Some of it flies overhead. Extinction changes the meaning of the living world. Most species that ever existed are gone. The animals around us are not the full story of life. They are the remainder. Every forest is filled with survivors. Every reef moves above absence. Each living species belongs to a lineage that passed through dangers others did not. Life continues. but not by preserving the world exactly as it was. Catastrophe opens gaps. Gaps create pressure. Pressure shapes new bodies. After the asteroid, mammals diversified. Birds carried dinosaur history forward. Forests recovered in altered forms, and countless smaller lives reorganized the planet. Survival does not mean returning to normal. It means becoming something that can continue after normal is gone. Death itself can become a beginning. When a whale dies and sinks to the deep sea floor, its body can feed entire communities. Scavengers arrive. Smaller animals follow. Bacteria and chemical processes continue the transformation. In the dark ocean, one death becomes a temporary world. The whale is gone. The whale fall begins. A fallen tree does something similar on land. Fungi, insects, birds, mammals, and soil organisms use the body of the tree long after it stops being alive in the way we recognize. A carcass feeds scavengers. Bones remain. Nutrients return. Nature rarely draws the clean ending lines humans prefer. Bodies become material. Material becomes opportunity. Opportunity becomes another life. Animal responses to death complicate the picture further. Elephants have been observed interacting with bones or bodies of dead elephants. Dolphins and whales have been seen carrying dead calves. Crows gather around dead individuals, possibly learning about danger. Careful language matters, because we cannot simply translate these behaviors into human grief. But dismissing them as meaningless would be careless too. Death carries information. The living respond. Sleep brings the story back to the room, to the night, to the reason someone might listen to a quiet animal documentary in the dark. Every animal that sleeps accepts vulnerability. Yet sleep appears again and again across the animal kingdom, because bodies need restoration, regulation, and memory processing. Danger does not pause because rest is necessary, so animals negotiate. Birds may rest with one side of the brain more alert in certain conditions. Dolphins and other marine mammals show forms of sleep that allow breathing and awareness to continue. Horses can doze standing. Parrotfish may shelter inside mucus cocoons. Bats hang in protected places. Social animals may sleep with the advantage of group vigilance. Sleep is not simply rest. It is risk management. While you become still, other animals are also solving the problem of darkness. Some hunt because night protects them. Others freeze because movement would reveal them. A few sleep half-aware. Many hide. Some call. Others listen. The world does not become quiet at night. It becomes less human. That may be the deepest layer of this story. Animal life is not strange because it is distant. Much of it is close. It moves in walls, soil, water, air, trees, fields, reefs, burrows, and the darkness outside windows. The strangeness comes from the fact that these lives continue whether or not human attention reaches them. A moth near a lamp carries ancient navigation into a modern trap. A spider in a corner waits through silk. A frog in winter may hover near death and return. A crow may remember a face long after the person has forgotten the encounter. An octopus may think through an arm touching darkness. A whale may carry the story of land into the ocean with every breath. These facts do not need dramatic music. Their power comes from being real. The animal kingdom is not a cabinet of curiosities. It is a record of what life has attempted under pressure. Some attempts glow, others bite. Many hide. A few sing. Countless forms vanished before we could ever see them. The survivors around us are not simple. They are current answers to ancient questions. How do you find food before something finds you? How do you sleep without disappearing? What kind of body can survive cold, pressure, hunger, darkness, injury, distance, or time? How much can a mind differ from ours and still be a mind? Every animal answers differently. That is why the world is filled with wings, shells, venom, fur, eyes, scales, songs, webs, burrows, migrations, colors, colonies, and silences. As the night deepens, those answers continue outside the edge of human attention. Soil shifts, water carries sound, wings move through air, a body cools, hides, listens, waits, or dreams in whatever way its nervous system allows. The room may be quiet, the planet is not. Somewhere, a creature is reading a signal you could never sense. Another is surviving with a body you could never imagine having. Far from any human witness, life is still solving problems in the dark. The animal world does not end where our understanding ends. It simply keeps going.